Hello and welcome. My name's George, and my channel's all about helping you get the most out of Logic Pro so that you can record and produce your best music in your home studio. Today I'm going to be giving a review and a bit of a walkthrough of the Steven Slate Audio VSX headphones. I'll give you my honest thoughts about these headphones, and you'll get to see if these might be a good option for you. So let's dive in. To start off, these are the headphones themselves and what they look like. They also come with this carrying case that I quite like, which also includes a little pouch on the inside to store cables, and I also put my eye lock in there when I'm traveling. So the idea behind these headphones are that they basically will replace mixing on dedicated studio monitors, and that you can get just as good, if not better, results using these headphones. So basically what they've done with the VSX is they've created a headphone with a very flat response and combine that with some software that models different spaces and speakers. So for example, the car or some well-known studios or a club, for example. And so this allows us to check our mixes in different environments. One common practice has been to mix in your studio and then bring your mix to your car and listen in your car and see how that translates and see if you're hearing some big discrepancies between what you're hearing on your studio speakers and what you're hearing in your car, and then having to go back and forth. And the VSX kind of aims to eliminate that so that you can do everything right at your computer and check on different systems using these same headphones. So the concept itself is very cool. Now, as far as purchasing these headphones go, there's actually two different packages you can get. And there's the Essentials edition and the Platinum edition. And the headphones you get with the Essentials edition are exactly the same as the Platinum. The difference comes with the different rooms that are included. So you can see here the rooms you get with the Essentials editions are the Steven Slate Private Room, Sonoma, LA Club, so on and so on. And with the Platinum edition, you get a whole bunch more rooms and any new rooms that get released. I actually first just purchased the Essentials edition, and after using it for a couple months, I quite enjoyed working with the headphones, so I actually upgraded to the Platinum edition. So that's always an option. You can start with the Essentials and then upgrade from there, or you can also purchase any of these rooms individually if kind of as an add-on if you have the Essentials edition. So let's jump into the software and show you how these actually work. So there's two ways of loading up the software. There's a system-wide software that you can use. So we'll open that up. So there's VSX Systemwide. So that'll appear up in your top toolbar if you're using a Mac. And you'll just need to set your proper output device, so your audio interface likely. And then here is where you can open up the plugin itself. So using the system-wide software, this allows you to monitor through the software and the headphones using any program. So if you're listening on Spotify, for example, you can still monitor through all these different rooms rather than just through your DAW. But if you rather just run everything through your DAW, then you can run the plugin directly in your DAW. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just exit this and I'm going to open up Logic here. Now, when you're loading VSX in your DAW itself, you want to make sure it's the last plugin on your master out. So here you can see I have VSX as my last plugin here. And that's going to mean that everything's going to run through it. So right now it's bypassed. I'm just going to unbypass that there. And as well, it's bypassed in the plugin itself. So I'll just uncheck that. And this is what the plugin looks like. So you can see here to start, I have Steven's mix room, which includes 3 different speakers. So there's the near field speakers here, then the mid field, and far field. So many of the rooms have multiple speakers that you can try as well. Now, Steven's mix room, this is one of the rooms that comes with the Essential bundle. Now, this is the room I probably liked the most in the Essentials edition. So this was the one that I was originally using when I first got VSX. Now, when you first load up the plugin, it'll give you a little run through of what to change here, the ear profile being one of the main ones. And if you go to the settings over here, you can relaunch the VSX walkthrough. So here you'll see it talks a little bit about the ear profile. And so you want to adjust this based on your own ear canal opening. So if you have a smaller ear canal opening and you want a flatter sound, you'll drag this to the right. And if you have a larger ear canal opening, then you'll drag it to the left for a flatter sound. And here they give you a bit of information on how to determine that. Basically, you can find out the sizing just from trying some normal earbuds and whether or not those are feeling tight or loose and how you're hearing the bass. Next, they give you a few tips on positioning the headphones on your head, and they'll walk through some of the other settings in the plugin, which we'll touch on as well. So for starters, let's check out some of the rooms here. So if you go to Browse Rooms, here you'll see all the rooms that are available to us. And these are all the rooms that are currently in the Platinum Edition. So if you do purchase the Essentials Edition, you won't have all of these unless you start to add some later. So you can simply audition any of these rooms just by clicking on them. And then you'll see, like I mentioned before, some of them have multiple speaker options. So you can check out the different ones there. And then once you settle on one and you want to dive in a bit deeper, you can simply double click and then you'll get to see the studio itself. And again, you're able to change the different speaker positions. Now you can set your 5 favorites here based on 1 to 5. So all you have to do if you want to set a new one is browse to the room you'd like to set. Let's say Mike Dean's studio. And if I right click on the number 3, then I can save that to be one of my favorites on number 3, for example. Now, this right here, this 2SBC, this is just going to give us a little bit of silence while we're scrolling from one room to the next, just to kind of cleanse our ear a little bit. So you can have that on or off. And then there's also an EQ section that you can also turn on or off if you want to kind of tweak the sound a little bit. If you want to add some more low end, you can do that or cut it. So you can tweak the sound of these rooms a little bit with the EQ as well. Now over here we have a bypass button. So that's going to give us a nice flat response in the headphones rather than emulating these rooms, for example. Now you also have the level match bypass. So this will adjust the output when you're bypassed. The depth knob is going to change the sound a little bit. So if you go down to low, it's going to make the sound a little bit drier and make you seem like you're a little bit closer to the speakers. Whereas the full is going to make you sit a little bit further back and you'll get a little bit more room sound that way. And then we have our output level, and this will either boost or cut the output level. When the plugin is active, it'll actually reduce the signal a decent amount from where your original mix is. So sometimes I've found myself that I'm boosting the output level a little bit just to match a little bit to the same level as it would be if I were to bypass the plugin entirely. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of the plugin itself and how to find your way around it. If you're using the Essentials edition, then the room that I liked the most in there was the Steven's mix room. And if you do decide to upgrade or just purchase the Platinum edition, then the one I like a lot is this Arshan Studio room. So those are some two that you can check out and spend some time with to start with. Now I'll play through my top 5 rooms that I have picked out here, but I will just give a disclaimer that unless you have a pair of these headphones yourself, it's not going to sound the way it should, but it'll just give you an example of the change that you might get from one room to the next. So I'll start with the plugin bypass so you can hear the mix, how it sounds without going through the VSX, and then I'll go through the different rooms.
Only time that it feels that way because I'm wide awake. That's the way you like it when you're to the top. Don't have to be alone, working to the bone. Ain't got no more money, but damn, I'm feeling funny and it's a better way. 3 days on the road and I'm losing control.
So as I mentioned, that's not going to sound as it should unless you have a pair of these headphones yourself, but just gives you a little bit of a sense of the changes that might occur when you're going through these different rooms and the different speakers within those rooms. Now, as far as using VXS and actually mixing on them, I've actually really enjoyed it, and I think these are a great option for a lot of different people. When I first started using them, I was mainly still mixing on my studio monitors and then using these as kind of a check and just going through the different rooms and seeing if anything was sticking out of my mix and then making any changes that I needed to that way. So using it similar to the car mix check, but without having to go to the car for one or having to set up a second set of speakers, just load up the plugin and check out some of the different rooms and check my mix that way. But as I started using it more, then I started actually mixing directly in my headphones and then actually going back to my monitors to see what they sounded like on that because I was more familiar with my monitors than I was with these headphones and the rooms themselves. And that brings up a bit of a point when you're using this. I wouldn't suggest switching all the time while you're doing a mix. I would kind of settle on one room and get to know it because it's a lot like actual speakers. You kind of have to learn how those speakers sound and how they sound in your room. And in this case, in these headphones. So if you're constantly switching between all these different options, then it's kind of tricky for your ears to adjust. So, as I said, I suggest you stick with one to start. And then when you're getting near the end of your mix, use the other rooms as basically a check for your mix and see if anything stands out. Each room is going to sound different, and different parts of the mix are going to kind of pop out or disappear depending on which room you're listening to. So you are going to get a little bit of variance, but if you can make it that the important elements, the vocals, for example, are consistent within all the different rooms, well, then you know that you've got a mix that's going to translate to different systems. Now, some other things I really like about these headphones is just the portability of it. I have a lot more confidence mixing on these headphones on my laptop than I do with any other headphones I've tried. I've never been successful mixing on headphones in the past. I've gotten what I thought sounded good with any given headphones, and then I go to listen it elsewhere, bringing it back to my studio with my monitors or in the car or anywhere else. And there's always things that don't translate. But with these headphones, I feel like I could basically take them anywhere and get a good sounding mix that I know is going to translate. So that's great if I'm traveling, I can have these anywhere. Or if I'm in a different room that I don't know, I can simply use these headphones and I can feel confident that I'm going to get something sounding good. If you're someone who doesn't yet own a pair of studio monitors, then this is a great option too, because it's basically the same cost as lower cost studio monitors. And you can get all these great sounding rooms with much higher and more expensive gear in a cheaper headphone. It's also great if you're simply in a space where you can't be blasting speakers, or if you like to work late and you have neighbors. Well, then just throw on your headphones and then you can mix as late as you want without bothering anyone around you. The one downside I have found is if I'm listening and mixing for a long time on the headphones that I do get more ear fatigue than I would with just regular studio monitors. So I do find that I have to take some more breaks when I'm mixing on these headphones. So in short, I would definitely recommend these headphones if you were thinking about getting them, or as I said, if you don't yet have a pair of monitors, or you want to be able to mix on the go while traveling, then these are a great option and something you should definitely consider. And if you want to improve your mixes in general, make sure to download my free Ultimate Logic Pro Starter Pack, which includes my mixing guide, as well as my audio recording checklist, my Logic Pro hotkey cheat sheet, my gear guide, and my Logic Pro session templates. If you have any more questions about VSX, make sure to leave those in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.